I mean, the second things go down, we know because everyone has our numbers and is able to go, hey, what's going on with this? Or hey, what's going on with that? So they're able to get us pretty quickly. So as far
All right. So Tomboy says, "Whoa, that's a nice setup behind you, Rusty."
Yeah, thank you very much.
You want to tell us a little bit about that setup? I mean, you've got lots going on, screens up, above, sides.
You're actually sitting in our studio right now for our church. We actually run everything that you see behind me from this chair. I'm literally sitting in a captain's chair, as we call it, and everything that you see up behind us is all of our cameras. I went ahead and turned them all on. This obviously isn't live because it's Tuesday night, so we don't have church right now, but I've got all the cameras. And as you see this top row behind me, you will see there is nothing but our announcement slides. So we run this throughout the week, or whenever the TVs are on, anybody might be walking by in case they want to see something. So we have all of our announcements, and then our different cameras are here on the bottom. We can bring them in however we want through our ATEM switcher. And then something just out of frame at the very top is our preview in our program to actually show you what's going on and what we're going out through the live stream, and then what we see as a preview so we know what's coming up next. And then everything else is right here behind me is our DVD recorder. And unfortunately, in 2023, there are still people using DVDs. So we do have a couple of those that go out. So we have a burner here that receives the video and audio feed to burn a DVD.
Church by mail? Says that they get the service on DVD.
And then even further behind me is the switcher. And then beyond that is the Mac that we do all the editing on. It's a 2021 or whichever one was right before they made the switch to Apple Silicon. So it's right before that's the most high-end one that we could get at the time. And that's what we do all of our editing on, how we push the stream out to the, just off camera here, you're going to see my actual live stream box, and we separate each individual process out into an individual PC. So if there's ever a problem, we can individualize it. So this is our actual streaming box here that runs Livestream Studio. And basically everything comes from the Mac back here and pushes out to everything else. And then that's what you're seeing behind me is our church studio here live.
Nice. So you said briefly, but repeat the software you guys use to stream. Vimeo, but what all are you using on the software side?
So what we use for everything is basically Vimeo's in-house software. Vimeo provides us with a live stream box not the physical box. We bought the Mac and then install their software. It's called Livestream Studio 6, I want to believe. Oh. Don't hold me to the number. We use that and we run everything through it. It has its own switcher and everything on that side, but we don't need it because we actually run our ATEM switcher back here behind me, and we can control everything through it. We can do overlays, we can do picture-in-picture, transitions, do whatever we need from our physical switcher, from our Blackmagic 4K. Again, don't hold me to the name, but everything kind of runs through it as far as the hardware is concerned. And then we just feed it whatever it is that we're going to feed it. We do SDI cameras to our 4K Panasonics that we have out on the floor. We have 3 of those that also can run 4K as well. Again, we were trying to future-proof ourselves. And then everything just runs through the switcher, and then we just choose what it is that we want. And we also have a computer as well for slides or for a video that might need to be done, because we do our media director Laura does a great, phenomenal job on our videos, as far as like our commercials, as far as our timers, as far as our videos that we do throughout the week, whatever it might be. Matter of fact, one just dropped about Easter that she just put out this afternoon. It's great. But anything that we need to play through our computer, we actually have a Mac out front that runs that, because we have to have an in-house PC to run those videos in case that both the live stream audience that are watching online and the in-house wants to watch something, and we can play it that way as well.
So you have screens in the church?
Yes, sir. We have 3 screens, I believe. 2 projectors that we give everyone for the audience, as far as everyone being actually in-house. They can see the lyrics for the songs, because most churches have moved away from a hymnal, and so the lyrics are now up on the screens and they're on projectors. We tried to be as not intrusive as possible, because I know there are some churches, in the mega churches, I see this a lot. They have so many screens. It's like you're watching, a big production, and I'm not saying it's wrong. It's it's a little over the top. So I think we find a fine balance with doing the projectors and doing the lyrics, and so everybody can watch whatever it is. And especially when missionaries come in with slides or pictures or videos, or even, and we've done this as well, is we've been able to do interviews with some of our missionaries live while they are still in their country because they couldn't travel to us or whatever. And that's a lot more intensive than you would think, because I have to be able to
video coming, going, and then going. Right?
Yeah, and I'm sure you guys are seeing this right now on your back end. You see this because you do this every single week. But when we do it like once every 3 months, I have to go back through my head and go, okay, what did we do last time? Oh, hey, DJ, how did we do this? Hey, Kirk, how did we do this? And I'm calling off names. These are all some of my team members. And it's just like, how did we do this again? Did we share the screen? Did we split the screen? And it's a process. We haven't written down the interview process yet because it's changed every single time, but we can do that just as well so that everyone can see it. And then we just have I guess you could call it a studio screen. It's not really a studio screen in the sense of showing you what's coming up or the next words or the next slides the way a presenter might want it, but it is a back screen for whenever people are up there singing, or whenever the pastor has a point or has slides that he wants to show off, he can view and not have to look behind him at the projectors. He can look straight ahead and still be looking out at the audience and still have a general idea. So yeah, those 3 screens, and that takes care of everybody inside of our church.
So all this sounds expensive. I mean,
for what?
That's a lot of gear. That's a lot of people. I suppose most of the people, or maybe all the people, aren't being paid, I imagine, but still it's...
Yeah, we're lucky enough that we're lucky enough that we have a medium-sized church that we are able to take care of our media concerns, whatever it is. Matter of fact, like I said, that Mac behind me, I think is a 2019, 2020. Again, don't hold me to the years, but it's the one right before the Apple Silicon came on to the M1s. And it was fairly high end, when we got it. And it's already slowing down. We need to figure it out, what happens there, whatever. But I mean, we're very lucky to have so many people that tithe into the church that we are able to take care of what we need. So anytime we need something, whether it's as little as a battery, a sound card, an SD card, anything, a USB thumb drive, a hard drive, whatever it is that we need, we're very lucky that we can actually go through and bring it to the church and say, hey, I need X, whatever it is. And they're just like, all right, what's it for? Tell us. And then typically we're pretty good. So as long as we keep it within the confines of, this is what we need, not what we want, I think we're going to do just fine. So, because there are some things that I would love to upgrade, but obviously when you want to spec out a Mac M2, the newest one they've got at 30 grand, that's a little far. You might just want to stick it to the $1,200
the M1s. That is a huge step up from those now old Intel computers you have there. Yeah, even if you move up to last year's computer, that's a huge step up.
I'm going to read this question. Would you recommend that churches go online? This is from Abuelan Abundance. Would you recommend that churches go online? And is it beneficial to have the option to online ceremonies? I honestly would say if you're a small church, big church, medium church, it does not matter. Go online, to be honest with you, because you'll never know who you reach. You'll never know where it gets played at. You'll never know where it gets replayed at. That's the great thing about the internet and being able to do live streams like we're doing right now. You may not be watching now. You may be watching later. Whatever, this stream is, whatever flavor of thing that you want out there, go online any way you can. And I have churches that I've worked with before in the past that literally someone had an iPhone and they went with it. And that's what they worked with, and it worked for them. And that's totally something you can totally start with. I mean, we all have smartphones in our pockets. One thing I learned from Dave and from GeekBeat from years ago is one of the first questions that people always ask, well, how do I get started? Just start, to be completely honest with you. Just do it. It's something that if you never learn or you never try, you're never going to get the knowledge and the experience. So the more you do it, the better you become at it, and the things you can pick up along the way. And then money comes later. Money's never usually right up front. So worry about that later, and then just go for it and just get started.
I guess the iPhone, the one thing I'd be worried about is microphones and audio, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's really important that you have good audio. I mean, any suggestions for someone, starting on a very low budget on how to get good audio?
So let's say you actually are doing the iPhone thing in 2023, and let's say you have just an iPhone or an Android or whatever. There are, even on Amazon these days, there are these small microphone packs that you can buy, and they're anywhere between $30 all the way up to $600, depending on what kind that you buy. But they basically jack into your phone either through the iPhone port or through the USB-C port if you're on Android, and they can give you some really good mixes. And I mean, a lot of people, especially YouTubers, you'll see the square mic that they have on their shirts, or you'll see a little tiny mic or whatever, and they have something. I mean, for live streaming, yes, obviously audio is going to be the best. So if it's just preaching, maybe that you want to get out there as far as your church is concerned, maybe put that on your preacher. Or, if you're a smaller church, you can't afford all that, just, start with the $30, $40, $50 mic, start with there, see what happens, test things out, go home and, turn your phone on, start with Instagram Live, start with Facebook Live, do whatever you can to try things out, because, the joke is always that you throw things against the wall until it sticks. That's literally what you've got to do. So it doesn't have to be this crazy extreme, everything that you see behind me is in the thousands and thousands of dollars, which again, we are very lucky as our church. We have a lot of tithers who we are able to take care of this. So that is amazing, but not every church can start like that. So if you have to start with your iPhone, find one of those $30, $40, $50 mics and maybe throw it on your pastor and have them pass it off. If they're singers, the multiple mics thing kind of gets a little hairy a little time, but maybe if you only have one person singing, they can pass it off. Kind of depends, but yeah.
So I've been using for live streaming. I don't remember what it cost, but it couldn't have been too bad, or I wouldn't have bought it. The Rode Go Mic 2s.
That's the one that I see all the time on YouTube.
Yeah. It gives you two mics. You can't expand it beyond that because one shows up as the left and one shows up as the right.
Correct.
But you can play games with which one or both you're using.
Right.
And it's pretty great. There are actually some funny videos where, before I understood how good they were, where I went to an air show, and every time a plane flies over, I start shouting to try to be heard. And it turns out in the video, you barely hear the airplanes. So I just suddenly start shouting for no reason at all.
Yeah, I think a lot of times the phones have gotten so good at audio processing, and then whatever adapter that you're attaching to it typically is very good as well, that, the noise reduction is going to be either decent or good enough so that you don't have to do that. Because a lot of times, that's exactly what your brain thinks. You're like, oh no, this big noise behind me, I need to be louder. And then, like you said, you go back to the video and you're like, oh.
So this sort of internal, any tips on making these sort of internal videos well? I mean, I feel like I used to get so stressed and we'd spend so long editing the video that, I could have just gone to, and personally visited everyone who was going to watch it, right?
Absolutely. A lot of times, first of all, having the particular knowledge in marketing, it's usually just called PK for product knowledge, and having that knowledge and then becoming that knowledge expert. I forget my boss is going to kill me for this, but there's a 3-letter word, subject matter expert, SME. And you want to become that person. So if you're already that person, you are leaps and bounds ahead of anyone else. So if you're a subject matter expert on a particular product, a particular device, a particular software, whatever it is, you're already out there. If not, I recommend learning it, because once you go to video, it's going to show on video that you don't know what you're talking about, because people can see it in your face and you're like, and then you do, and when you start hearing all of that, you can very quickly pick up that person may not be able to teach whatever that product is, or device, or software, or whatever it is. You can very much go, no. So just learn what it is that you want first, and then get to a scripting level. I personally have never scripted an entire thing my entire life. I'm very good at off the cuff and going straight for it. But for most people, scripting is much better because then you can kind of read through and go, what are my thoughts? What are my ideas in my points that I want to hit throughout whatever? I mean, just like you guys sent me a run sheet, we want to, talk about these particular items, or here's 1,000 items. Let's pick out a few of those. And that's the idea, is you want to have script. So you have a general idea where the particular video is going to go, so that you know that you're not creating a 30-minute video for something that could have been done in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So especially, like you said, when you're doing the editing, you could have spent better time going to talk to someone. And that's what you want to do, is you want to find out, how can I do this within a 2 to 3 minute process? Because the other thing is, unfortunately, in this day and age, especially for millennials and beyond, the attention span is dropping very quickly. And so you want to catch them in a 2 to 3 minute video. I mean, there was a video one time that I did a few years ago that was literally a car having a wreck behind me. And I thought it was really cool. So I played the entire, 4.5, 5 minutes of whatever that was on my YouTube channel. Someone stole it from me on Reddit and then got a whole bunch of Reddit points for taking the video and chopping it down to literally 45 seconds, because it was literally the wreck, all the aftermath, and then that was it. And I was like, they got so many points and I'm the one who posted the video.
So I think we're a similar age, but remember in the 80s when MTV kind of first appeared, all the old people were like, kids these days, they can only sit through a 4-minute video. Think how short their attention span is. I think about it all the time. How the heck did we sit through 4-minute videos? I can't watch a 4-minute video now.
Yeah.
If it's awesome, I might make it to 90 seconds, but our attention spans were so long, we could watch 4-minute videos.
I'm reading the training, what was that? The employee training video. It's from gas station. Yeah, absolutely correct. But from an employee standpoint, that's the thing that you got to think about, is you may not want to watch someone doing a corny acting, but you could also put in dad jokes while you're doing it, or do some, you can add some corny to a little bit of reality to it and get away with it. Because there's a girl that I watch every day. She just does nothing but dad jokes, but it's just funny because in her delivery and the way that she does it, and it's usually no more than 30 to 45 seconds. But there's a fine line that you can create within your video. It's all in how you deliver it.
Yeah, there's a guy I follow on Mastodon that's nothing but puns, and every time I'm like, why do I follow this guy? But
Absolutely.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon to be notified when we post more tech talks, interviews, and tutorials.